Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our Winnipeg Jets franchise mode here in NHL 24. So in last episode, we continued simulating more of the season, and our team definitely started to find their legs because we are kind of closer to 500 at the beginning of last episode, and by the end of it, we are now 40, 19, and 3, and we have a realistic shot at potentially winning the President's Trophy this season. As you can see, we are one of the best teams in the NHL, only behind the Toronto Maple Leafs at the moment. And we've been getting some really good depth scoring on this team. I've been impressed with pretty much everybody on the roster. And obviously, I think this team definitely is just showing us a little bit of a glimpse on what they could be like. As you can see, the depth scoring on offense has been very, very good. We have a lot of guys above 30 points, even guys down on like the third and like closer to the fourth line guys have been also like picking up a little bit of points, but there has been a little bit of problems, I'd say, with our fourth liners, not Jaqueezi, but with Yakala and Lindstrom. I haven't been super impressed with their plus minus, so I think we are going to be making probably a little bit of a change up to our lineup on that fourth line just to kind of make it more defensively minded, so that way we could kind of scratch somebody like Jokela. He could be a depth option. Lindstrom's likely going to get dealt, and we'll bring in a more defensive minded center just to kind of make us a little bit better defensively instead, because we have a lot of offensive minded guys. So we definitely need to kind of have that line that's more defensively oriented, or else we'll give up a lot of goals probably in the playoffs. And you can see our defensive core has been very good in terms of picking up points. The plus minus on guys like Charlie McAvoy haven't been great, but obviously they could turn it around quite a bit because McAvoy is a pretty big veteran at this point in time. And our goaltending has been a little bit inconsistent. I'm hoping that our goaltending numbers improve in the last little bit of the season, because if they don't, I don't know if I really trust Dag still to get it done in the playoffs, because he has not been that guy so far. And then obviously Anunen's not really much of anything anyways, so our goaltending situation is still a little bit problematic, but I would say everywhere else I've been very, very impressed with. And I'm hoping that this team just continues to build on this for future years to come, and that this team turns into maybe like a dynasty winning multiple cups, that type of thing. But we do also have a little bit of an injury still at the moment, as Aiden Irving won't be returning for a few more games because he got injured, and he's leading us with 30 goals already through 60 games, so there's a realistic shot he's going to be back in the 40 goal plateau, which is nice. But it does suck that he's currently injured. So anyways, that's that. Let's get into your guys' comments. There was only actually one comment to go over, so we might as well get into it right away, and then we will go ahead and probably make an adjustment with that trade like I was mentioning, and seeing what our team is looking like at that stage. So that only comment is from Saturn Otaku, who says, while Suter has been better offensively, he has 2 years left, so McLeod would be the better option as a rental. If you trade Lindstrom, Wilson is listed as a depth forward in the AHL, so you could call him up, assuming his defensive awareness is okay, and scratch Yakala. Not sure where Nelstorp is on his contract, but you could either qualify or sign him to a 1-year deal, then flip him at next year's deadline. So that's likely the way we're going to do things, is we are going to probably not move Nelstorp yet, who's one of the lowly defensemen, but he's already like 24, 25. We'll probably end up just having him for 1-year deal for next season and potentially flipping him away, and hopefully we get a decent thing in return for him. We probably won't get too much, but we could maybe get like a pick or a prospect, something like that. But we are going to be likely trading for, I think it was Ryan McLeod, right? It wasn't Michael. Michael was in New Jersey, so I think it's, bringing in Ryan McLeod. He will help out our bottom six quite a bit. I'm trying to remember what team he was on, because I don't think it was Edmonton. I got to look through these teams again here and see if I could find him. Maybe it was higher up in this. Let me just actually go to Edmonton and see if he was there first. No, I don't think he was. I might have to actually search for him, because I honestly don't remember what team he was on. Even though it was only a few days ago that I recorded that last episode. He's like an 81 overall, so he's going to be a decent fit for that fourth line. Be more defensively minded than Caden Lindstrom, which should hopefully help us a bit. Oh, there you are. Seattle. Yeah, that's right. Okay. That is right. So we'll go to trade for asset here. He does not have a lot of value. They did not want a big return when we went to the trade finder, so we might just do one of the trade finder offers. But I think what I'm going to first do is trade away Caden Lindstrom, just so we can kind of free up that roster spot first. So let's just go to the trade finder and see what Lindstrom could fetch us. Because obviously he's losing a morale due to ice time as well, and that's another part of why we are trading him away. So Caden Lindstrom, he has some value. What could we get for him? A third in the low top 9, a medium 9 and a 6th, the medium 9 and a 6th. There's actually a lot more offers than I thought. Is there any interesting ones, though? Some kind of depth options, a third-round pick. Most of them seem to be medium top nines at most. Oh, there's a low elite that has 1 year left as a defenseman. That's kind of intriguing. Just to take in Cole Lind or whatever his name is. I would assume that low elite's not developing well. We'll come back to that one in Columbus because that low elite could be intriguing, but he also might not be that good. Because everybody else is offering me like top nines and stuff like that. So if that low elite's actually decent, I wouldn't mind doing that deal. But yeah, a lot of these other ones are just kind of average players. Some of them are players that are closer to retirement, so they've dropped off a cliff. So I think that one for that low elite might be something I want to do. Obviously, I don't think I'm going to bring in Lind in that deal. But I would take that low elite for sure. So it was Columbus. Let's see. How good is Kagorodov? Because I don't think I know who he is off by hand. Let's see. Kagorodov is a 78 at 25. Hey, that's actually not bad as like a depth defenseman. Huh. He's kind of in the same boat as Nilstorp, who I was planning on trading away at some point. Like, if we bring him in, it doesn't really... Like, I mean, we could use a lot of these other guys as AHL or NHL depth defenders. Like Nilstorp. Right now we're using Nordstrom. Like, he would be an upgrade from Nordstrom, but I don't think it's worth it anyways. Like, is he a DFD? He's a two-way. He's got really good passing. How does he do, though? Never played an NHL game. Solid AHL numbers. Yeah, he's actually not that bad of a point producer. Huh. That's kind of an intriguing one, but he would be a pending UFA, I think, as well. So, I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to trade him to a team for, like, a third-round pick at this rate. Because that low elite could be intriguing, but once again, we have a logjam of defensemen, so, I don't know about doing that too much. So, yeah, we'll do Lindstrom, and then we will do probably one of the ones for just a third-rounder straight up. So this one from Washington. So Lindstrom will head to Washington. We'll go to roster moves. We'll temporarily... Do we need to actually call anybody up? I feel like we don't. Yeah, we don't need to. Let's go to edit lines here quickly. And we'll temporarily throw in a different guy into this spot, which is going to be, I guess, Laferriere, just for temporary use. And then we will make that deal for Ryan McLeod. And Ryan McLeod will come in on that fourth line center spot. We'll also call up Wilson potentially from the AHL if he's better than Yakula defensively, which I'm pretty sure he is, but I could be wrong. So we'll go to Seattle. I forget what the offers were, though, for Ryan McLeod. A third rounder straight up. Hey, the third rounder we just acquired from Washington is what they want now. So they did trade what they want, but I'm okay with moving this third rounder right away. So we literally just got a third rounder, and now we're moving it right away to Ryan McLeod. So it's like almost like a three-team trade in a sense. But Ryan McLeod will be joining the team for a third-round pick, and I think that's a decent deal for our fourth-line role. So let's go and put him in, and we will take a look if we want to promote Wilson to the NHL yet. So we will go actually get sent into the minors, I guess. Let's see. Did he do it in the minors? Yeah, he did. I don't know why. Let me take a look at Wilson's defensive stats. I think he's a two-way, right? No, he's a sniper. Oh, his defense actually isn't good. I don't know if it's much better than Yakula's even. Like, Yakula is rocking... Yeah, Yakula is actually technically better defensively with that awareness. So, I guess we will keep Yakula in the lineup, and then Wilson will stay in the AHL for a little bit longer. Which means we are going to still have a little bit more of a offensive fourth line. But with the addition of McLeod down the middle, I think that makes us a bit stronger defensively on that line. It makes us even stronger down the middle, which looks really good. So, I think we're going to keep the rest of that the same. Yeah, that should be good. And then once Irving comes back from injury, Knack will be back to being a depth forward for us, which is fine. So I think that's all good. Perfect. We are good to continue assimilating, I think, at this point. Don't think there's any other moves I really want to make for this team, but we should be a really good team this for the playoffs too, I think, at this rate. Unless this team is going to do a good regular season and then be like an easy first-round exit. But let's jump into the trade deadline just to see if there's anything intriguing more out there. If there isn't, obviously we'll just continue assimilating. But I just want to see what there is out there. If there's anything that kind of screams interesting. Some centers, but we don't really need those. Defensemen like Chabot, no thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of good centers out there, but center is definitely somewhere where we don't really need to address. And then there's also some left wingers, but we don't really need to address that either. So, yeah, I don't think I'm going to make any more deals. That's going to be our trade deadline for us. So let's see if there was any big blockbuster trades at this year's deadline. Yes, there was. Wallstead gets sent to Arizona for the corpse of Philip Forsberg because he's probably really old at this point. Jake Bean and Connor Geekie is the main part going back, I think. Interesting. What about other trades? And then, yeah, we should be a playoff team pretty easily. But the question is McLeod going to be a great addition for us defensively? I'm hoping he is. So, let's see. Elias Lindholm goes to St. Louis. Okay. Beauvillier to Arizona. Not huge really there. Riker Evans, Burakovsky, and Miramanov go to Arizona from Seattle. Pinelli and Stenlund go to Florida. Okay. Mikey Anderson to Montreal. No Cates to Colorado from Carolina. Jordan Spence to Detroit from LA. There's the Wallstead deal. Kalen Addison to Philadelphia. There's our Ryan McLeod deal. Yeah, basically we did Lindstrom for McLeod straight up in a sense because that third round pick we got was basically what we got for Lindstrom. And then we traded it right away for McLeod. So that's an interesting little bit of business. I think that was good for our team. And very excited to hopefully make ourselves a bit better of a defensive team. I will give McLeod a little bit more penalty kill time than I think Lindstrom was getting, just to make sure, because I know that McLeod could probably help us out in that situation, because our penalty kill has been not the best so far. So what I'm going to probably do is, I guess I could keep him in that spot, and in the 3-man unit, maybe I'll put him in instead of Misa, Luke Misa, because Luke Misa is not doing too well apparently in that spot, it looks like. And McLeod doesn't work right either, but we will give McLeod a little bit more ice time because I just don't want people to be complaining about ice time anyways. So that's all good and ready to go. Let's continue assimilating and see where this team finishes off. We should be able to hit 50 wins this season, but we could obviously fall a little bit short of that. But let's see how we do. Let's go to the 31st. See if we can get a good little streak going here. Trocheck on waivers. I don't think I need him. He's pretty old at this point, 37. He's a decent depth forward, but at the same time, I don't think I really have the use for him. So I would rather promote from the younger guys in the system. Barlow's been injured in the AHL. Let's just go replace player. And Aiden Irving is already back, which is awesome. So we'll get that goal scoring ability back that he possesses, which is awesome. So Irving was a right winger. He'll jump in on the left wing with Lucius and Perfetti, and that makes us just look even much better. Like, this might be one of the best looking teams I've had overall wise in a while, which is awesome. Barlow's back. That's good news for the AHL team. They should be a playoff team too, I would assume, this year, but you never know. So Barlow back in. Good stuff. Let's go back to NHL here so that doesn't glitch out. And it's still, the calendar glitches out all the time. We are still winning games. We're now 43-20-4 as we look to get to 50 wins this season. There's another win in a shootout. Couple losses in a row, which is okay. They kind of make us a bit more balanced going into the playoffs. Good little stretch here. Continue simulating. And yeah, 47-23-4. Okay, let's do one more game this month. And that is also a win. So we are 48-23-4 with a total of 7 games to go, and we have clinched the playoff spot. We're only 1 point up now on the Preds in our division, which is kind of crazy. I don't think we're going to be able to catch the Maple Leafs for the President's Trophy, which is good, because obviously that President's Trophy seems to be more of a curse than anything, so I don't even really want it. But let's see what happens in these last few games of the season. There's a win over the Caps. Game over Arizona's a win as well. And then we lose to Pittsburgh in OT, so that's still a point. But we're 50-23-5 now. And the Leafs are still only on 106 points, so we are closing in on a potential chance at that President's Trophy, which I don't know if I like at all. Game against Nashville, OT loss, so that's another point. And then we beat Dallas. We're up to 108 points. And we have clinched our division, I think. I think that's what the Z means. I can't remember, to be honest, but 108. Maple Leafs are on 108 as well. Oh no. We honestly might be able to get that President's Trophy depending on what Toronto does and what we do in these last few games. We lose to Colorado 8-3. Imagine being one of the best teams in the league and still losing that badly. Interesting. Toronto is still on 108, but they still have one more game less played than us. Let's see. Do they pass us in the standings for that potential chance at that President's? They do not yet. Comes down to the last game of the season. It's either us or Toronto that will win the President's Trophy. If Toronto wins this game, they win the President's Trophy. If we don't even get a win, we definitely don't get it. Game against Minnesota is an 8-5 win with 110 points. Did we win the President's Trophy? We did. Oh my goodness, I think we did. Unless there's teams that still didn't finish, but I'm pretty sure we did. Man, that is not great. We know it's a curse. That means we're going to be likely a first round exit because of that. Damn, man. Didn't want to win that trophy, but I will take it. That's kind of impressive that this young team can win a President's Trophy. Yep, we won it by 1 point. By 1 point only. Which means, yeah, we're likely a first round exit at this rate, which is not great. But let's take a look at our stats here. So obviously we are the best team in the league. We are the best offensive team as well. And then from a defensive standpoint, we were the 8th best defensive team, so that's not too bad. We're actually tied for 7th with Colorado. Obviously, that 8-goal game we allowed against Colorado was a game that we should have been better defensively in. No, I'd say, wow, our power play was over 30% the entire year. 30.9%. 76 for 246. Love to see it. And our penalty kill, 80.8, was not terrible, but it obviously could still use some work. It's kind of a bit more below mid-table. 9 shorthanded goals, 25, 11, and 5 on home ice, 27, 13, and 1 on the road, and 7, 1, and 2 in our last 10 games. So we definitely got ourselves into that President's Trophy at the end of the season, and we're probably going to fall apart somehow in the playoffs, my guess. But let's take a look at these player stats. So starting off with our centers, Misa, 82 points in 82 games. Solid season from Michael. Then Lucius was 78 points, really good season from Chaz. Stankoven also had 78, so very good depth scoring here so far. Luke Misa on 66 points. I'm not used to having 2 Misas on the team. But yeah, Luke Misa has been actually a pretty solid player. Didn't expect him to put up this much amount of points because he's just a medium top 6, but Perfetti on 58 points, pretty good as well for him. He didn't have any power play time, so it would be interesting to get him some more power play time, but at the same time, we don't necessarily need him on our power play, which is kind of crazy. Kagerodov on 43 points, 25 goals this year, and 8-game winners. Love to see it. Solid second season in the NHL for Kagerodov. And then Michael McLeod, we brought him in, obviously, and he was solid defensively. That's exactly kind of what I wanted from him. We didn't really need the much offense. We needed him to play good defensive hockey, and he was much better than Lindstrom defensively. Even 0 through 20 games. I will definitely take that. So pretty good numbers across the board there. Left wing wise, Grosek hit 20 goals and 46 points. Not too bad from Philip. That is his second 20 goal season. Kind of like a lesser Irving that doesn't score as much, but love to see it. Right wing side of things, yep, Aiden Irving hits 42 goals this year, 78 points in 79 games. Another good season from Aiden. He's now up to 4 consecutive 40-goal seasons. He's not hit 50 yet, which is kind of surprising, but he's been a very good goal scorer, especially on the power play. Love to see it. Hellenius on 75, Jaqueezy on 29 in his first season is pretty good. Yakula was definitely a liability defensively, 18 points, but a minus 12. So that's where I was kind of debating about finding somebody else to take his roster spot, and then he could be more of a depth option, but his defense was not that good this season. Knack had 5 points in 5 games as the depth guy, so that's pretty good. So from a forward standpoint, I really like the depth scoring here. Very good across the board. Nobody that's super badly minus except for Yakula. So not too bad on that front. Defensively, Kyrou on 59 points plus 25 is great. McAvoy on 52 points minus 9. So McAvoy's plus minus still a little bit problematic, but that's okay. Vandermeer on 37 points plus 21. Fernarski on 20 points plus 6. And then you have Palin on 17 points plus 1. And Galvas on 16 points plus 8. Nordstrom picked up a goal in his only 2 games he played, which is nice. So everybody on the team had a point this season. Everybody on the team had a goal this season as well, which is good. And in the goaltending, it looks like Deg definitely improved a little bit since we just last looked. And Noonan definitely didn't play as good afterwards, but our goaltending is okay. But obviously, I think that's definitely our biggest question mark going into the playoffs, is if our goaltending could do better. So there is our player stats. Let's take a look at stats around the entire league. The best point getter, Austin Matthews, 124. McDavid with 113. Nylander, 112. Marner up there. The typical guys you would expect for the most part. Best goal scorer of the season, Austin Matthews with 68. Then that Earl Ferrario guy is an 18-year-old, had a 58-goal rookie season. That's pretty incredible. So shout out to this guy. He might get a lot of statistical growth and natural growth because of that. And then this Koivisto guy had 53 goals as a 20-year-old. So a couple really good young players breaking into the league, it seems like. So that's kind of neat. Most game-winning goals for fun. Roy Motto had 11. Who had the best goal? It probably was Kei Garodov on our team. Most game-winning goals. Like, he's the most clutch, I guess. 8 of his 25 goals were game winners. Most power play points, DeBrusk. Most power play goals, McDavid and DeBrusk, but Irving was up there. Most shorthanded goals, Leo Carlson. I almost said Lucas Carlson for some weird reason. Connor McMichael up there in shorthanded points. Let's take a look at Selke candidates. Probably Tim Stützle. Yeah, definitely Tim Stützle. 56% on the draw and 148 takeaways. Most fights, Tanner Jeannot with 4. Not a lot of fights from some of these guys. Jaquezie, our rookie, had 3 fights in his first season, so Jaquezie might be that type of guy for us that get punched a few faces in, which is pretty cool because we don't really have one of those. So I like that. Defensively, Cale Makar had over 100 points this season. Jeez. So likely Makar obviously will be your Norris winner. But former defenseman Josh Morrissey was up there for San Jose. It looks like San Jose actually might have made the playoffs this year, which is good with him. So there is that. From a goaltending standpoint, the best goalie in terms of wins was Saros with 41. Most shutouts was Skinner, Gustafsson, and a bunch of other guys tied at 4. Best save percentage by a starter, UC Saros, or Saros, whatever you want to say. And goals against was Dostal. Well, yeah, Dostal. Our Shesterkin actually probably would get it instead, but Lucas Dostal returned back to Anaheim after he left us. That's actually kind of interesting. Huh. Wow, he's put up some really good numbers in Anaheim after leaving us too. Maybe we should have held on to him a little bit longer, but oh well. Any goalie goals this season? Let's see. No goalie goals. Most goalie assists was Demko and our goalie Gabriel Deg with 4. Best rookie this season, yep, Earl Ferrario with 74. And then you have Robinson Mangone with 70. Looks like we're getting some really good rookies in terms of goal scoring ability into the NHL this season. So there is that. Let's take a brief look also if our AHL team made the playoffs as well. That's one thing I wanted to take a look at. Let's see, did they make the playoffs? They did, just barely, I think. Yeah, they did, just barely. By the skin of their teeth. I want to take a look at their player stats as well, because I sometimes forget about doing this. So if we go by a forward standpoint, Rafalski, like we were saying before, really good numbers from him. Wilson was good. Ranta was good. In general, looks like the depth scoring was pretty good. A couple guys that were badly minus, but you'd expect that. So there is that. Defensively, okay, not bad. Some guys picking up points. Some good defensive numbers from low elites like Louis Vara, who should be able to crack our lineup next season. Him, Scarlett, and a few others. Goaltending-wise, looks like Grant's numbers fell off a bit, but that's okay. He was still really solid. And it looks like Scarlett improved a bit. Both these guys are very much close to being NHL goalies. So there is the AHL. Now the question is, in the NHL, who are we going to be playing in round 1, and do we have a chance to beat them despite us winning the President's Trophy? It will be the St. Louis Blues. Okay. St. Louis went 46-32-4 in the regular season. They're 5-5-0 in their last 10 games going into the playoffs. Let's do a little comparison here first. So they were the bottom of the division that made it into the playoffs. They were a wild card spot, obviously. We won the President's Trophy. They scored way less goals. They gave up only a tiny bit more goals, so they're a decent defensive team. Their power play was way much worse. Their penalty kill was better than ours, which is interesting. So they might be more of a strong defensive team in a sense. We both had the same amount of shorthand goals, and they were pretty solid on home ice, but not so much on the road. The question is, what do they look like nowadays? It's 2031, so they still should have maybe a few pieces that have been there since the beginning. Like maybe Jordan Kyrou is still there, but the rest of the team, who knows? Maybe it's a bunch of generated guys. So, first line, Isaac Rosehill, Peyton Eckford, and Kirill Vishnevsky. That's a nasty top line. Wow. So Vishnevsky, former first overall pick, Eckford, a former first overall pick, and then you have Rosehill, who's a former fourth overall pick. All within a span of 3 years, I think. All in a span of like 3 to 4 seasons, they got these three guys. So St. Louis has been very bad, but they are bringing in very good pieces at the draft. So very good first line. Then their second line, Michael Rasmussen's kind of weird, but they have Robert Thomas still and Kyrou. So they still have a little bit of a mix of their original roster with some good young players. Third line wise, Isaac Rosen, Zach Bolduc, and Jeff Lashoff. That is a very nice top 9. Very nice top 9. And in the fourth line, still good too. Porter Martone, Elias Lindholm, who they traded for, and Igor Afanasyev. That center depth is insane. I didn't expect us to be going up against a team that looked this good. Like, for them to be like one of the last teams to make it into the playoffs and for us to win a President's Trophy, like you would think that either of these teams could be a President's Trophy winner based on their forward core alone. Like this Lashoff guy was another high up pick in these last few years. So St. Louis has been drafting relatively well, and they also got a good mix of veterans. So I'm a little bit scared about that. From a defensive standpoint, they also have an okay defensive core too. Keandre Miller, Victor Soderstrom, Michael Buchinger, Aaron Kiviharu, Theo Landstein, and Adam Ginning. Yeah, that defensive core is pretty good. Very good left side. The right side's a bit weaker, but it's still decent. And goaltending-wise, they do have Yaroslav Askarov, who we've, obviously in our other series we've played in the playoffs before, he's a pretty good goaltender for the most part. He didn't have the best season, though, which is kind of interesting. And then their backup is Hugo Allenfelt. So they had the good goaltending, they have the good defensive core, and a very good offense. And in depth-wise, they have some okay players, too. Matt Roy, who used to play with us back a few seasons ago. That's interesting. They also have Nathan Bastian and Dalibor Dvorsky's a scratch guy. Damn. You should be playing somebody like that, but honestly, I don't know where they'll slot him in. Like, maybe throw him in instead of Rosen or Martone. But he should be probably in the lineup. But still, they have a very good team for being a wild card one, which definitely very much scares me considering we won the President's Trophy. I feel like we're going to be a first round exit because of that. Like, we're going to get not necessarily cheesed because they're a really good roster, but the game is going to cheese us out of it because we're going up against a good team that somehow only finished in a wild card spot. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our Winnipeg Jets franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll take it to the first round against the St. Louis Blues as we look to get to the second round and beyond that. And yeah, this young team is looking pretty promising. So hopefully that translates into some playoff success as well. So anything down below, and I'll see you guys next time.